All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. I can see Money Miz. That is trending at the moment in the live chat, which is awesome to see. By the way, Laurenz, that's my new name, Money Miz.
Obviously.
Matisse came up with that, and that's what we go by now. It's Money Miz, not Money Mace. It's Money Miz. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Laurenz here, a return guest. It's been a while since I've spoken to him. Laurenz has been taking a bit of a break, but he's been nice enough to come along. So, Laurenz, my man, how you doing?
I'm very good, bro. I'm very good. It's not even like I've taken a break. Oh, I can't handle it anymore. It's just happened to turn into a break, really. That wasn't necessarily a full-on, I'm going to take a however long break. Obviously, I did the video with Simon Johnson the other day, which did very well. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. Really, I always enjoy talking to you, Money Miz. So, I was like, we planned to do something the other day, and then we kind of both forgot about it. And I messaged you literally on the a couple of, what was it? 10, 15 minutes before we had it planned. I was like, oh, wait, wasn't I meant to do something with Miz? So I checked the chat just to make sure I didn't miss anything in the end. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, we both forgot about it. It's not that bad. Then we made sure, we get it done for today.
Nah, man, I'm glad, because that's the thing. The content makers at Chelsea, when you do on a daily basis and you plan so far ahead, you start forgetting what's going on. So I'm really, really glad that you've contacted just a few days ago, and we made it happen. We made it happen, ladies and gentlemen. We've got literally 40 live straight away. Let's get the likes up to 40 as we go along. Hopefully we get more people on. Recently we've been having quite a bit of numbers, so let's keep the likes up as we go. And shout out to the live chat all the time. Honestly, you guys have been a massive support. Literally, I think I'm about 80 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers. So let's help me get there.
Subscribe right now.
There you go, guys. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Shout out to, let's go through the list a little bit. Jordan, Declan in Ireland, Phantom of Many Topics. My man, thanks so much. I saw you on Matisse's channel just a moment ago, so thank you for that. David, Yusuf, my man, you're always here. Sudarsan's another one. OG, Kartik, Wavy, and Petit, man, this is unbelievable. Thank you so much for the love, honestly, guys. Straight away, a super chat. Let's see what this super chat has to say before we get into the show. Phantom of Many Topics, thank you so much, my man. I have something important to say, Miz. Are you ready? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you had to give me a super chat for that, but yeah, I am ready. I'm definitely ready. Go on and let me know. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about, I know it's once again Erling Haaland and Lukaku and Kane and whatnot, but I'm not here to provide latest updates or anything. I'm really here to get reaction. So there's a couple of videos. I've got some clips that's lined up in the background, and one from ESPN and few from the London is Blue podcast show that Matt Law was on. I'll have the links. I just don't have it in the description right now, but I will have that as soon as the stream's over. I just didn't get enough time to put all that in. So it's basically having Laurenz here and reacting to what these clips are all about, and then letting you guys figure out where things are at in this whole Haaland topic and Lukaku thing, and Kane apparently is also in the mix. So it'll be interesting to see what the fan base is, thinking. But most importantly, I guess, Laurenz, what he's thinking as well. So without further ado, Laurenz, are you ready for the first clip that we're going to talk about?
I'm very much so ready. Hit me.
Brilliant. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first one's an ESPN clip, literally in the last probably 12 hours to 24 hours. They were talking about Timo Werner plus cash swap with Haaland. I initially thought it was a bit of a joke until ESPN started talking about this. And then I saw Simon Phillips just tweet out earlier this morning saying that some people are talking about it. So let's have a look at the clip first up, and then we'll get into it.
Chelsea making no secret in the fact that
they start from the beginning.
Timo, your mate Timo, old Tim, TW, is looking for a way out at Chelsea, obviously after a disappointing season. Chelsea making no secret in the fact that they won a striker in at Stamford Bridge. Are you surprised it's gone so wrong for him? Because you were a big advocate for him when he made the move.
Yeah, and I still think if he stays this season, I think he can put it right. Although at the same time, I was watching him last season, and you could see that it wasn't working for him. He was trying hard. He was working ever so hard. He just He couldn't do the things he was doing back in the Bundesliga over the years. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Tuchel made that move and tried to get as much money in for him as you can. The problem for Chelsea is they've got to make sure they buy, a ready-made centre forward, whether it's Haaland, whether it's Lukaku, whether it's Lewandowski, whoever it might be. Because if they sell Timo Werner, there's not a chance they can get anywhere near the league without him. Even though his numbers weren't amazing, he was still contributing in terms of goals and assists. But they've got to make sure if they get whatever it might be, 60, 70, 80 million for him, go and buy that elite centre forward. Because if they do, and they bring one of them boys in I've just mentioned, they've got every chance of competing.
No one's paying that for
I was just thinking, nobody's paying 60, 70, 80 million for Werner when it cost Chelsea, 50 last year? And he's been disappointing.
Yeah.
If you get your money back, if Chelsea get their money back,
they don't get their money back.
Snap whoever's hand it is off. Yeah. But right now, you understand Werner wants to leave. He's not settled well. He's not played well. You understand Chelsea want to get rid of him for exactly the same reasons. The question just becomes a matter of money, and nobody's going to. I can't see him commanding more than 40.
If you're Chelsea, you basically say, look, here's Timo Werner, here's 125 million, Borussia Dortmund, take this, and we'll have Erling Haaland.
I'm driving him there.
Yeah. That would come.
You know what I mean, and if Timo Werner does want to leave Chelsea, then quite frankly, he's not been up for the task, because everybody can come in and have a difficult period.
Yeah.
But if you want to jump ship and I don't know if he does or whether this is Chelsea's doing or whatever, or his management, but from the player's perspective, if you come in and you have a bit of a wobble for 12 months and then you want out, you don't have the stomach for it, right? Go back to Germany and go in your comfort zone. But from Chelsea's perspective, I think there's a lack of trust there now after that 12-month period. And, we've been saying it for...
Laurenz, you just saw that live chat. You saw that as well. What is all this about Timo Werner? It's starting to seem like this whole Haaland deal, and I'll get to the Matt Law's takes, and it will really, you will start thinking much deeper about this. But Laurenz, this Haaland deal, every day it seems like it's either Callum, it's either Tammy, or it's Ziyech, now Timo. I know this is probably not true, but it's starting to feel that there is no deal here with Haaland. Like, it just seems a bit too complicated now, so much so that we're starting to talk about Timo Werner. What do you make out of that clip?
First of all, and I don't want to take a dig at individuals, but there's a reason why these individuals are on ESPN and not on English TV. There's a big reason for that, because as you can tell from the accents, they're all English or, Scottish or whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
And I don't whenever I start watching the ESPN clip, I get so triggered in the first 30 seconds, I usually need to click off. Timo Werner does not want to leave Chelsea, right? Let's get that clear. Maybe Chelsea want to get rid of him to help the Haaland deal. That could, in theory, be true. But Timo Werner definitely doesn't want to leave, because people will jump on Timo's back already. Why are you such a bottle job and this and that? Don't, right? Timo doesn't want to leave Chelsea. So that's the first thing you need to say. I will also say about myself, right? If you take me back to January, February, maybe December was maybe a bit early. January, February, March times, I might have been one of those people that said, well, if we can get rid of Werner, because I was so fuming at him at the time.
Yeah, you were angry at him, because I remember joining you post-match.
I really was. And I was like, hey, Timo Werner is great in the Bundesliga. If we sign Haaland, Dortmund need a striker, just ship him off. Might as well. Why not? But obviously, over the last few months of the season, not necessarily because he's played any better, but I just started to like him. I just started to like him. I saw more of his interviews, and I just thought he's hilarious. So, I'm like, come on, Timo, I'll give you another chance. So, yeah, I will tell you now, if this was a realistic possibility, I still wouldn't say no. But it just won't happen. It just won't happen. But I do want to clear up one thing. What are these people talking about? 40 million. That's what we're asking for Tammy Abraham. Do these people have any idea of football? Do you have any clue of what football is and with the money that's going on?
Where is their head? They're actually saying, and I want to hear this from you, because it's very interesting, because they really downplayed Timo Werner a lot, to the point where they said he had an unsuccessful season. Now, okay, he didn't bang in the goals, Laurenz. He didn't bang in the goals. We get that. But do you remember when I used to be in your channel post-match, and I always used to talk to you about What about all the other things though? Like, are we just focusing on the remember how we used to rate the managers, and I used to say, look at it as a package. Look at all the things that he's doing, just before the match. And I look at it, from a Haaland's point of view. I know he didn't bang in the goals, but his attitude hasn't been bad. He's always worked his backside off. Work rate has been immense. Assist is something that he's provided a lot last season. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a Champions League winner as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is there this narrative out there from the media that he's just been rubbish? Ship him off and cash in on him and just get a Haaland.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I think it's still somewhat fair to say he's had a disappointing season because he just didn't score enough. Like, obviously the 12 goals doesn't look that bad, but genuinely, since November, he scored, 3 or 4 goals between November and May. Like, that's bad. Even if he gets quite a few assists, and even if he quite a lot didn't actually play as the central striker, so wasn't necessarily the man that we were requiring to get us goals. But still, we signed him to get us goals. And 4 goals between now or between May and November isn't good at all. But he still did things that were important. What is frustrating to me sometimes because we spoke about this a lot. He made a lot of good runs. And the runs were very rarely found. And I always was slightly confused by that. Is this a situation of after so many misses, the rest of the squad don't trust him to play him in? Is it a case of they still haven't got used to each other? But bloody hell, by the end, it was a full season. And they still didn't find his runs, which I find a bit odd to this day. So it's a back and forth. There are good things to him, and there's certainly bad things to him, but let's not kid ourselves. He needs to improve his finishing if he stays next season.
Yeah, 100%, Laurenz. I do like what you said about the runs. It's as if they wouldn't know Timo Werner's profile. Like, they surely would know his profile in training that's what he's known for, the runs. So, as you said, by the end of the season, there were still so many runs that were getting missed, which was unbelievable. Just quickly, this super chat here, Harry Foley, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Haaland coming Jan and Fab to back it up at 5. Yes. Is there a stream happening or something at 5 p.m. today from both of those?
Doesn't Fabrizio stream every day and probably Jan is a guest, I presume?
Probably, but here's something, and this is the other thing that I want to hear from you as well, Laurenz. Jan, I've said recently, I know there's been a lot of hype from Jan Age Foytoft, and he's building up, drumming the beats, the Haaland camp, the fantasy offer and all of that. But I feel like he's doing that just from he's only looking at the story from one side. And then also Fab, I don't know how much he knows the full details about this. And then when you look at the Chelsea correspondence, and we'll get to Matt Law, what he has to say, and not just Matt Law, The Athletic, full of Chelsea correspondence there. Many are saying, Simon Johnson recently as well in his article in The Athletic said, he's not heard of any of this £150 million offer that's getting lined up, fantasy offer that's getting lined up. They've said that, it is an interest. Haaland is definitely an interest, but there's nothing that is getting worked out at the moment, literally nothing. There's been no bid, there's been nothing. And I know a lot of people will say Chelsea operate silently and they probably don't know, but when you have all of these Chelsea correspondents from Chelsea side of things saying that they've literally not heard all of this stuff that Jan's trying to say, there's a big offer that they're working on and whatnot. I mean, from your perspective, Laurenz, like, we do need to, as fans, we do need to see, like, from all different journalists' perspective, not just, Jan and Fab has been saying that this is probably going to, slowly materialize and let's just jump on it. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
It's a difficult one. What Simon said to me, obviously, when I spoke to him, he will never underestimate Roman Abramovich. He knows for a fact that Roman wants Haaland. He knows for a fact that Tuchel wants Haaland. It's just what he's heard and what he feels is, even whether we will make a big enough offer that Dortmund will be budged to sell, is somewhat questionable because Dortmund are not known to sell two big players in the same transfer window. They just don't usually do that. Obviously, if there is a number that is so big that they have to accept it because it's, when there's a deal too good to turn down, sometimes that happens, right? So I'm sure we could, if we really wanted to, sway them. But whether this £150 million / 175 million euros offer is true or not, obviously Jan will have his sources. Jan is potentially also a bit of a, like Matt Law is for Chelsea, the person to put stuff out there that you want out there, which is possibly what Jan is for the Haaland camp, right?
Yeah.
So, by Jan spreading information like that, not necessarily saying it's wrong, but putting a bit of a pressure on Chelsea, do this, because maybe it will be enough for Dortmund.
Yeah.
Something like that. But then at the same time, we have to also think about the Athletic, and Matt Law might know, even the Athletic might know. But this might just not, Chelsea might have told them, don't say anything about it.
Yeah, don't say anything about it, yeah.
Because, it's people, I've been asked this question a couple of times. What does it mean, preparing an offer? Because people is like, what, did you go checking for pound coins under your sofa? Or like, what do you do? Like, just to explain that maybe for a second, if people don't get it, it's a case of you need to basically put together a document of a proposed deal, which includes possible bonuses, possible paying in installments rather than paying
personal terms and all of that. Yeah.
Well, no, not even personal terms. That's with the player himself, but just in terms of putting it to Dortmund, it's like, okay, do we want to pay 175 million one go? Do we want to pay 100 now, 50 next year, 25 the last year, or
installments?
Yeah. What are the bonuses? Like, if he plays 100 games for Chelsea, you get this much. If he wins the Champions League, you get this much. If he wins the Premier League, you get this much. If he wins the Ballon d'Or, you get this much while he's at Chelsea. And these are all the things that need to be. And the bigger the deal, the longer this takes. So this might potentially be happening. And obviously, if some lawyers and Marina are sat in an office working this out, obviously no one's going to know about this because the only people, like, no one's going to really know, if that makes sense. The only thing I could imagine is that Mino Raiola knows that that's what Chelsea are doing at the moment. But whether it is actually true or not, who knows? But the bigger the deal, the longer this takes. And people seem, in my opinion, which is why I still have a little bit of confidence. Less so after I spoke to Simon, I can't lie. But I still have a little bit. People seem to completely ignore how long Havertz took last season. Yeah. Like, I know we signed other players before that last summer, but the big deal took a long time. It took a long time, and people are now, we're only preparing. Why are we not making a bid? Why weren't you complaining last summer about Havertz? It was the exact same situation. Yeah. We were preparing a bid, and we were doing this, and we're planning to get Havertz, and it's literally identical, aside from what Simon Johnson and The Athletic and maybe Matt Law as well have now said, that they feel like it's kind of unlikely at this point. That wasn't said about Havertz. But aside from that, it's the same thing, right? So I wouldn't lose our heads because it's now July 22nd and with nothing's happened. That doesn't mean anything. But I don't know. I mean, I find it a bit weird that we're now apparently again shifted the focus to Lukaku. That part I find a bit odd because if we didn't, like, a few of these sources are saying, if we didn't actually do anything in terms of asking Dortmund, okay, how much do you want? And they told us, doesn't matter how much you pay, we won't sell him. Unless that happened and no one said that that's happened, why would we have shifted our attention totally on Haaland for a month or two, but never actually done anything, and now apparently randomly shifted our focus on Lukaku again? Like, that to me seems illogical. If we had tried a bid and they denied or they turned it down, blah, 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 fair enough, then shift your focus. But it doesn't really make sense to shift focus without having ever tried on your number one target. That doesn't really make sense to me.
No, it's a very good point, Laurenz. The one that I really liked what you said was maybe Chelsea has said something to the Chelsea correspondents and just said, you can't leak this yet. Just play along, like you don't know anything. And then if it happens, boom, you know it all. And you just start saying that we've known all along that this was happening. It was always Haaland and it was never Lukaku. Like, and then you try and go back to the previous articles and it's all deleted. Now, I do really like that different angle from you, Laurenz. we're going to hear what Matt Law had to say recently, which is going to be interesting. But before we do that, this super chat here, Phantom of Many Topics, you know, I respect you so much. You've supported the channel a lot, much like all the other people as well. I still want to read this out because I'm a massive, not just a fan, but a friend of Yunus. I know him very well now personally as well. I need to talk about this just quickly. Never discuss a YouTuber while he's not there. You know, I'm not a troll. Yunus is, for lying about me regarding in future, I will screenshot. So look, I don't know what happened, but I just want to let you know, Phantom of Many Topics, is that Yunus is such a down-to-earth guy. Like, I'll probably do a whole show just on him and talk about what a legend of a person he is. So if you've got any issues, my man, reach out to me, DM me. I'm more than happy to have a quick conversation with Yunus about it, because I know you're not like that. I know Yunus is not like that. So I don't know what has happened which caused this issue. And I'm so sure and certain that Yunus would be so okay to sort this out with you. So that's all I'm going to say. So if you do want to reach out, Phantom on Many Topics, DM me and we'll get that issue sorted out. All right, Laurenz, before we look into the Matt Law's comments, which was recent, nearly 160 people live right now, guys. Let's get the likes up to 100 straight away. My man Laurenz is here, and you can see it's totally different perspective. This is what I like about having different guests. They've all got different angles of thinking, which is going to be interesting for all you guys to then put it in your, the shelf of all the different perspectives, and then you come up with your own little, formula as to what's going on, or, whatever basically makes you happy at the end of the day, right? So let's smash those like button and get it all the way up to 100. Okay. Laurenz,
hold on.
Yep.
And subscribe. Miz literally said he's like 60 away from 6K. So if there's 160 of you watching, there's a good chance, a fair few if you're not subscribed. Subscribe right now. Help him get 6K, because it's another big milestone. He's on the road to 10K. It's a long road still, but hey, every road comes to an end at some point. So get subscribed right now, and the quicker we'll get there.
I love it. And on top of that, my man Laurenz, I know he crossed 10,000. His link to his channel is in the description, and literally there's a highlighted sort of YouTube channel for his name in the description. Literally click on that and subscribe. If you're here, you're not subscribed to me, subscribe. If you're not subscribed to Laurenz as well, go and subscribe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's now look at the first clip from Matt Law, which was recent. And as I said, I'll put the link out for all of this in the description after the show's finished. This is what Matt Law had to say about the Haaland. Hold on. Stop from the top.
£50 million.
Yeah,
like
and the wages are absurd, and the agents' fees are absurd. And do you know what? I've actually found my opinion of this deal slightly changing. I'm slightly wary of any team paying those kind of numbers for. I said this on something else the other day, that he's clearly an excellent striker, and I'm sure he would be a success in England, but he's played in the Bundesliga and done it in the Bundesliga. That's a league where Timo Werner was the 5th highest goal scorer in the whole world. There is sufficient evidence that players coming from the Bundesliga aren't guaranteed to hit the ground absolutely running, and they may need a year, they may need 2 years, and they may never hit the heights they did in the Bundesliga. I suspect Erling Haaland would, but he still might need a year or two to do it. Now, I'm not sure you can pay 150 million plus the probably £300,000 a week plus whatever agents' fees Mino Raiola wants, and take the risk that the guy might need a year or two, or might even never be quite as good as we thought he was. I mean, I've got to say, I do think there's on the money involved in Haaland this summer. I think there's a massive gamble involved.
So Laurenz, he starts off by saying absurd wages. He also then says crazy transfer fee, agent fee, and all up, there's still that element of risk and gamble. And I know with every transfer, there is that risk of element of gamble and risk and whatnot. But from your perspective, Laurenz, after listening to what Matt had to say, this is literally in the last 24 hours, when you think about it in that manner, the different obstacles in this particular deal and the amount of money that needs to be thrashed out, it is a huge factor. Like, it's not like you're guaranteed that Haaland comes in and there's going to be no adaptation and he's going to bang in the goal straight away. And we're going to get 30 goals in the first season. Like, it hasn't worked out like that for many players. There is a time to adapt. It's a different environment in London, leaving family and whatnot. I don't know whether he's already living without family at the moment, but all of that factor comes into play. So what do you think off the back of what Matt Law just said?
Now, the first thing I actually want to focus on there, first of all, I think it's important that people understand that this is Matt Law's opinion and everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. He's not saying this is what I know or this is maybe why Chelsea won't actually do it. This is just his opinion. That's totally fair enough. It's a reasonable opinion to have as well, in my opinion. But, and I'll get to fully your question to me in just a second. The one thing I actually wanted to pick out from that, he gave, for the first time from an actually good source, we have a number for wages. He just said £300,000. I don't even think that's bad at all. That's just 10k more than what Kante's on right now. And Kante will probably get a new contract this summer and probably put him above 300k. And Haaland, I know, hasn't done anything or hasn't won anything other than a German Cup, sure. But let's be honest, we know who Haaland is. We know how good he's going to be. To pay him less than Kante, to not even make him the highest paid player, which I can't imagine Kante gets less wages, right, than he is on right now, or even the same. He'll probably get bumped up a little bit. So if he's on the same or even like less money than Kante, Haaland, I don't think that's bad at all, really. So by that logic, I'm like, what is all this drama about? Get it done. But in general, obviously the money is huge. I get that. But I do think there is a bit of a ignorance in the Premier League of not understanding how expensive the really good players are. There is a concept that that fans in England and journalists in England don't really comprehend that. The very best players in the world cost you that much money. Just the Premier League has had a bit of fortune in terms of getting the players a tad earlier in their career, and then they became good here. But Kevin De Bruyne right now, if someone wanted to sign him, he'd be way more than Haaland, or at least the same money.
Yeah.
Eden Hazard, we sold him 2 years ago for over 100 million euros, plus add-ons that could have, accumulated to 140 million euros. Obviously, with how many injuries he's had.
And that was Haaland. That was Hazard on his last year of contract.
I was literally going to say that, exactly. Yeah. I mean, will never get all of those bonuses because he's injured too much and too fat. But,
but by the way, some people still want him back. Like,
people are crazy. Anyway, then he was 1 year left on his deal, right? And we sold him for that much money. To think that, Haaland is too crazy. I get what he's saying with the Werner thing. And Werner is almost the sole reason why I have a bit of doubt about Haaland, which is kind of unfortunate for Timo. But I get what he's saying with that, but you also have to look at the player profile. You can't just say because you do it in a Bundesliga, you can't do it here. It depends on type of player you are. Because, I mean, Timo is a player where you say, okay, he really needs space. He's not that strong. He's not that great at dribbling. Those are the things you need in the Premier League, right? Erling Haaland is so big. He's so strong. He's so fast. He's so good at finishing. Those are the things you need in the Premier League as a striker. What Timo has is what you need in the Bundesliga.
Haaland literally bumped off Ruben Diaz against Man City. We all saw Ruben Diaz bumping off. So he does have those skill set that would make him a success in the Premier League.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I mean. But of course, there is still a bit of a risk signing a guy that's just turned 21, I think, yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever it was. There's always a little bit of risk attached. There always is. But there is always a little bit of risk attached if you sign anyone, PSG took a risk when they signed Mbappe. Yeah. Real Madrid took a risk when they signed Ronaldo. What if Ronaldo does his knee in 2 months in and never has a career at Real Madrid, really? Look at the risks that Real Madrid has taken. Kaká, they signed him in the same window as Ronaldo. That was one of the biggest flops in footballing history. Like, that move to Real Madrid. Yeah. Like, if you think about that, just because they signed Ronaldo in the same window, no one really thinks about it. Yeah. Because it didn't really matter because Ronaldo scored so many goals and won them everything anyway, so it didn't really matter that Kaká was a bit shit. But Real Madrid literally broke the transfer record twice in the same transfer window. Like, that's obviously the transfer record was a very different thing back then. And Kaká was, I think, like 67 million euros ish. And then Ronaldo was like 90 million or nearly 100 million, just under 100.
But just on that, Lawrence, just before you go and finish that line off, just on that, because it's such an important point. Real Madrid did that, and look at the kind of mess they're in now.
Yeah, but they're not in a mess because of Ronaldo.
No, but they're in.
They're in a mess because he's not there anymore.
Like the financial situation, the wages, and all of that. I know pandemic played a big role in it, but that level of wages. I know it's a different financial model as well in Real Madrid because we've got an owner that puts in the money in. But do you ever worry about this at all, Laurenz? That, and I know you talked about Haaland's wage, 300k, not that much, but factor in the whole Raiola agent fees, factor in the huge transfer fee. It's a lot bigger than just 300. There's a lot of amortization that needs to be done with all of that factored in. Do you ever fear? I know we're all in for Haaland in. All of us are in for Haaland in. But do you ever think of the back of your mind that this ends up creating a precedent where other players inside Chelsea will start thinking, well, you're giving this bad boy 300k. Why not me as well? Like, bump me up a further 100k. I've actually done something for the club, and why not? And then you slowly have a new level of bare minimum wage of, let's say, 200k. Like you start having a lot more players in 200 to 250, and maybe about that 150 sort of range, as opposed to what it is now. Do you ever feel that could be a problem?
I think we already have that problem since Callum Hudson-Odoi got his contract. So I don't think you can make it any worse personally. Because if Callum Hudson-Odoi is on, what is he, 150 or 120?
They say it's 120. Yeah.
Anywhere between that. Callum doesn't even play for Chelsea, realistically. Haaland being on double that is totally justified.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
What I do think the hypocrisy stems from here is that Matt Law is basically saying, yeah, but Lukaku is fine. Lukaku is 28, so you basically have zero resale value, but he would still cost 100 million. If you sign Haaland, even for stupid money, you probably make money on him. Like the chances are, in 3, 4, 5 years, we sell Haaland for more than what we'd sign him for right now.
Yeah.
Because the football transfer market will only inflate and inflate and inflate. It will keep doing that. It has done for the last century, and it will keep doing it. It won't just stop doing that, right? So it will keep inflating. So yes, there is a risk with Haaland in stupid money, but you need to think about, if we sign Lukaku, all the money we spend, aside from maybe a 10, 20 million at the end, if he leaves at 32 or something, he's now 28, that we get back, maybe 30, 40 million. All right, sure. But definitely nowhere near the full money. Haaland, we'd probably sell for more than what we'd buy him for now. So the risk, if anything, there's much more risk on Lukaku, because Lukaku genuinely has to win us things to be worth it. Haaland, we still sell him for more than what we signed him for, probably.
True. There's a lot of upside. There's definitely a lot of upside. You're right.
So it's about, why do we care about resale value? I saw the comment there about L4C3. Because I personally don't necessarily, but Miz asked me about the comment of Matt Law, and he's saying the money is too crazy. But the money is only crazy if you don't make it back. It's irrelevant otherwise.
True.
Like it doesn't really matter. It's not like Chelsea will all of a sudden go bankrupt tomorrow, and now we're stuck with Haaland and we're dead, right? And that's not how it works. And if we ever were in money trouble, not that we'll probably lose Haaland eventually anyway, could just sell Haaland, but fine. Like, so it does make a big difference in that sense, right?
And also, Laurenz, if Haaland does come in, you've got the merchandise sales, and if Haaland helps us win the Premier League and again go as far as possible in the Champions League, there's a lot of revenue and income that's going to come through from that as well. So that's another factor.
Yeah. I mean, I think in terms of going for the Premier League this upcoming season, it doesn't really matter whether we sign Lukaku or Haaland. There is a case to be made that Lukaku would actually be more helpful for this very season, just because he's more experienced. He knows the Premier League, and he's a bit more guaranteed to hit the ground running, in my opinion. Just because of the age, mainly, right? And having played in the Premier League before. But I think long-term, again, resale value, the way a Haaland deal would propel Chelsea in terms of size club is incredible. Like, I think that's what people need to think about for a second. if we get Haaland alongside Mbappe, the biggest talent in all of world football, after we just got Havertz last year, we would, in my opinion at least, not be that step below Real Madrid anymore. We would be on a par with the likes of Real Madrid. Plus, we have more money than them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't pay as much wages as them because they literally pay David Alaba 400k a week, which is insane. But anyway, fair play, all the best to him. But no, it's still a bit crazy. But in terms of, you know, you got to do what you got to do at some point. Like, you got to do what you got to do. Like, sure, City didn't never sign this one individual, stupid, crazy, expensive player, but they spent 250 million on defenders in one transfer window.
True.
And arguably that makes the agent fees even higher because then you need to pay 4-5 agents because you signed 4 or 5 players. So you know what I mean? So it is a difficult one. And I get that it's a lot of money. And if Chelsea don't sign him, clearly it was too much money. But if Chelsea do sign him, I trust Chelsea, I trust Marina Granovskaya, I trust Roman Abramovich enough that if they do sign it or pay it and sign him, that we can also afford it. And then who am I to say it's too much? If they can afford it, it's their money. If they say I can, like, if my mate tells me now you shouldn't buy this, say $500 TV, but I say, but I've got $500, why shouldn't I buy this TV? It's not like it's my decision whether I want to buy this TV or not. It's Roman Abramovich's decision whether he wants to buy Haaland or not. Essentially, like he needs to know whether he can afford it, not me.
This is exactly what I tweeted probably a week ago. I'm not sure if you've seen that. I said, me being the owner of my house, I want to buy, let's say if I decide to buy the best TV, I'll go and buy the best TV. It's my house.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? Similarly, if Roman decides, and he's the owner of Chelsea Football Club, that I want Erling Haaland, and I can afford it, you're best assured that he'll probably get it done. Now, obviously, the club that's in full control of this whole situation is Dortmund, and whether they accept or not, that's a different story. And I know the analogy of me wanting a TV, going to a TV retailer, they're never going to say to me, no, you cannot have that TV. That's my TV. Like,
they might, if you turn up and they say, well, the TV is 500 quid, and you say, but I want it for 300, they will tell you no.
Well, then they will tell me no. That's a different angle. That's absolutely right. They will tell me no. This is why I enjoy talking to Laurenz, man. He's just so calm and cool about it. Look, I want to take a quick moment here because I've just noticed something in the live chat, and I don't want to see this in the live chat because this is not the kind of channel that I run here. And I know maybe other channels, there's all these conflicts and whatnot. Phantom on many topics. Once again, thank you so much for the super chat. I will reach out to you. Just quickly, I think you've taken a bit of an exception of what might have been said in Matisse's channel in regards to Yannick's video. I honestly, please guys, have a look at that clip. I don't think there was any malice at all. Like, it was purely fun and games and joking around. We know Yannick, like we are mates with Yannick. It's like me being mates with Laurenz and cracking a joke about Laurenz. Laurenz will not take offense to that. And similarly, Laurenz doing that to me, I will not take offense unless obviously it's over the limit. That's when I will have a personal conversation with Laurenz, and Laurenz will have it. But please have a look at the clip. I don't think we've ever said anything derogatory or out of line. So I'm going to keep it to that. It was literally just some fun and jokes saying that, you know, everyone post, and Laurenz probably would have seen this, post our first match in the preseason. A lot of people got a lot of views post that, and it's a match that no one got to see it, but everyone's reviews got hell of a lot of views. Hell, my stream 24 hours later has just clocked nearly 10,000 views. And we were simply laughing because we didn't see the match. That's what we were laughing about. It's got nothing to do with Yannick as a content maker. It's got nothing to do with anyone being a content maker. We've got massive respect for that. So please don't misunderstand me in that manner. So I'm just going to keep it to that. But yeah, I will get in contact with you, Phantom of Many Topics, if you're still a bit not happy with what was said or whatnot. To be honest, I don't even think it was malicious at all. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 283 people live. Few things. First of all, smash that like button, get the likes up to over 200 straight away. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Very close to 6,000 subscribers. And check out Laurenz's YouTube channel link in the description right now. And go out there and subscribe to Laurenz, because as you can see, he's so easy to have a conversation with. And literally, you can do that on social media with him as well. All right, Laurenz, we're going to now look at the next clip where Matt Law talks about how Romelu Lukaku is probably more probable. And he also talks about Harry Kane, which was, I never paid too much attention to this, but let's see what he has to say.
I think anything's been given. Lukaku's public declaration before the Euros. I'm told there are still talks on the background going on. I don't think anything's been given up on Lukaku. I could still see that definitely coming back to the fore at some stage. I think there are talks behind the scenes on Lukaku. I know that they've had another go on Kane, but they're just not going to get Kane. But they're serious. But Tuchel's serious about Kane. Tuchel doesn't care about this kind of rivalry between Tottenham and Chelsea. Tuchel's serious about Kane, but the board know that it's kind of 99% impossible. But I know for a fact that they've sort of again looked at that and seen whether they can get any talks going on Kane. So I wonder whether Lukaku's still the most likely at this stage of all three, and then whether they.
So, Laurenz, Kane is apparently what supposedly Thomas Tuchel really wants. And when I think about that, it kind of suits the fluid front three, striker dropping deep, linking up with the play, striker who's more than a striker, playmaker. I get the feeling that's always been the flavor what Thomas Tuchel is looking for up front. That's probably why Tammy hasn't been favored enough. That's why we started seeing more of Kai Havertz come through later on. That's probably why Timo wasn't favored enough in the middle. He was more on the inside forwards. I mean, let's talk about that before we talk about the Lukaku thing. I mean, why are we still in this particular era where a player from a strong rival, like London-based rival, probably not in the same stratosphere in terms of trophies won, definitely not in the same stratosphere in terms of trophies won and won not. But why are we still in that era, Laurenz, that he's given everything to Spurs? Like, there is not much more to give, and he's not won it. He's gone to a Champions League final, didn't win it. Last season, Carabao Cup final, not won it. He's done everything. Why wouldn't it be okay? Whether he wants it or not, that's a separate story. He probably doesn't want to join Chelsea, maybe, I don't know. But why wouldn't it be okay for him to move from Spurs to Chelsea if Thomas Tuchel wants him that much? Why wouldn't that be acceptable?
But in who doesn't find it acceptable? Or what do you mean?
The fans. So the Spurs fans, or they may look at it as betrayal. And
the
maybe
Spurs
Kane,
fans, yeah, I don't really care about those. Yeah, well,
even Chelsea fans at times would say that this will never happen. And as Matt Law just said, this will never happen.
It won't happen. But if it were to happen, I don't think Chelsea fan would complain. I think we just have something to forever have over Tottenham, which would be hilarious, especially if he wins things with us. So, I definitely wouldn't be complaining. But I think you need to be as realistic as some people might not notice. Chelsea haven't signed a player from Tottenham in over 40 years. We don't sign players from Tottenham. That just doesn't happen. And we tried. We tried way harder than we have so far for Kane, for Luka Modric. And it wasn't happening. We offered I think 15 million more than the actual evaluation of him at the time. And they still said no, just because it's us, right? So it won't happen. Tottenham fans would hate it. Daniel Levy won't let it happen, but if he let it happen, he will rub his hands with a lot of money. But it's an understandable case to be made for Thomas Tuchel. Harry Kane behind Robert Lewandowski is probably the best striker in the world. Yeah, Robert Lewandowski is just quite a bit older. But in terms of actual striker, that's also a thing. English fans always think Harry Kane's the greatest in the world. He's close, but he's not that close to Lewandowski. Lewandowski is a good other step above, in my opinion. But Kane is, in terms of age, the best striker that's probably out there, right? but it just won't happen. It just won't happen. I do have one tiny worry if we were to get Kane. I do think we'd need to change how we play because he's slow. Kai is quick. Haaland is quick. Lukaku is quick.
And we
Harry
do
Kane
counter
ain't
at times. We do counter at times, and
that's what I mean.
He's slow.
I mean, I suppose he could drop deep and play the passes over the top, I guess. But still, then that's what I mean. We'd have to change it a little bit. And someone said, "Does Lewandowski have the legs for the Prem?" Oh, it's Flyers, big up Flyers.
Big up Flyers, man.
I mean, he's quicker than Harry Kane, so yes, yes.
Yeah, I think Lewandowski is definitely quicker. There's no doubt about that. He's definitely quicker, and that's one thing I've noticed. I don't know why I've not noticed it that much with Spurs. Maybe it's because the ball gets carried by Son a lot more, and then Kane kind of comes into the box and finishes things off. But yeah, Kane's not the first one initiating the counters because you do need to drive with the ball. And I saw it for England. Kane was slow. He was definitely slow. But then later in the tournament, you could see the other facets of Kane come through, which is the dropping in midfield and then laying those passes, especially the one for Bukayo Saka, I believe, against Denmark, where he put that ball through. Saka then cut in from the wings, crossed that ball in, and it was an own goal, but Sterling would have finished it. But just quickly before we go to the Lukaku thing, Laurenz, you've said this will never happen. When could we ever expect, it feels like, and I'm going to give you some history lessons. I don't know where, and I'm sure you're probably going to be able to give me similar history lessons as well. Like, for example, I'm from a Bangladeshi background, right? And our land was initially under Pakistan. And we fought against the Pakistanis in 1971. You know, blood was shed and whatnot, and we reclaimed and we became a republic, right? And India helped us out as well in that whole situation at that time. But till today, 2021, there's hardcore people that don't want to even see a Pakistani. Like, they don't want to talk to them. They see them and they feel really, really angry because you guys are the ones that, you know, we had to fight for our land and so on. But I'm one of those ones, and I do apologize if the live chat, if any of you guys take, you know, disrespect to this, but I'm one of those ones, Laurenz, that was a long time ago. Like, that's finished now. I've got Pakistani friends, and I'm okay with them. They're okay with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, like, you've probably got similar sort of historical backgrounds from your nation and whatnot, and similar sort of, but you guys probably over it. So when are we ever going to get over this whole, let's do business? We can still be rivals, but let's be able to do business. Sort of like a Romeo and Juliet sort of situation.
I do like the analogy, but I do find it difficult to compare country politics and, let's be honest, war to football, just because if you can compare it to the people, to the fans. And I think while Chelsea and Spurs fans hate each other, that's in football, right? And that's, some of it is banter, some of it is genuine hate, sure. But I know for a fact that a lot of Chelsea fans are mates with Spurs fans. Right, I'm mates with a couple of Spurs fans, and one of a very good friend of mine is a Tottenham fan. But that doesn't mean I like Tottenham. And I think the big thing is Daniel Levy. He's a very stingy man at the best of times, and he has this great hate, or not hate for Chelsea, but there's also a bit of a Daniel Levy, Roman Abramovich thing, which is not like it. That's part of it too. So it's less just Daniel Levy Chelsea. It's also like Daniel Levy Abramovich Chelsea, if that makes sense. And it's just they don't want to help us win things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, obviously, I'm not well versed on Bangladeshi and Pakistani history, but if that were to be a situation of basically, you know, Pakistan had to give, or Bangladesh had to give Pakistan things for Pakistan to win a war that Bangladesh is also trying to win at the same time, Bangladesh wouldn't have done it either. And that's kind of like, if they give us Kane, they make us much more likely to win the Premier League, which is obviously what they also want to do. So, like, and the more you dislike someone, the more unlikely you are going to help. You know, going to be to help someone. It's a difficult. It's a difficult one. Like I said, I don't want to.
Just on that though, Laurenz, you put up a really good like. Why should I help them win the Premier League? We are trying to win the Premier League, but we've got to be realistic as well. Are Spurs really trying to win the Premier League? Like, there has to be some realism here.
Try. I mean, they fail miserably, but you know, it's like PSG in the Champions League. Like, it's no different.
That's where I start thinking. When does the player's intention and the will, like, he's given everything to Spurs? When does it get to a point where you go, you know what? It's highly unlikely we're going to win the Premier League. He wants to win stuff, and we're not being able to do that. Let's negotiate with Chelsea. They're willing to pay the dollars or pounds, whatever. Thomas Tuchel wants him. Let's get in the table. Let's discuss. Let's be amicable about it, and let's get to it. But you're saying there is no deal that can happen here, yeah?
Yeah, like Daniel Levy will not budge to this. It's just Brent Smith. It's a good comment. Sports were created as friendly version of war. It's not wrong. Like in a very like condensed message type of way, that is kind of like obviously let's not go back to the Mayan days. We're a long time since then. You know, also the world didn't end in 2012. So, you know, maybe they didn't know all they thought they did. You know? Like essentially it's just rivalries, and some of it is some of it is serious, but it's just like basically Tottenham would rather sell to Real Madrid, PSG, Man City than to us. You know, that's basically where they're coming from, if that makes sense.
Nah, fair enough. I can see someone saying, what a horrible example means. Once again, guys, I 100% apologize if that was a horrible example. I just thought of it that's how I kind of see the whole situation. And as I said, I could be wrong, and you may take it in a different level. So I've mentioned it before I said that example, that I apologize if people take it in a different way. I don't mean any disrespect one bit. Now, Laurenz, Matt Law, on that particular clip, before we look at the last clip, he said that Lukaku is more probable. That's the probable target. And this is what the Chelsea correspondents have been drumming the beat for a while now. They're more focusing on Lukaku. I mean, you've recently spoken to Simon Johnson. Simon Johnson had a piece on Athletic not that long ago as well, where I saw that he was talking about Lukaku. I mean, is your gut feeling sort of saying that is more of an easier option? Because he's literally come out recently and said he's happy at Inter Milan, and you know, there's pictures in social media and football Twitter where he's training and he's chilling, and he doesn't seem one bit bothered about what's going on. Do you know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I have always thought that Lukaku is a much easier option to get than Haaland for various reasons. Number one, Lukaku, as much as it's probably diminished a little bit, is at heart still a Chelsea fan. Even still thinks to some extent he has unfinished business at Chelsea. Simon Johnson said this to me, and Pice, obviously. He clarified it's not as strong as it maybe used to be, that feeling of unfinished business, but it's still there. But he also said that Lukaku is, if there's any club he leaves Inter for, it is us, but he's very happy there because for the first time in his career, he feels respected. And not just by the club itself, because he obviously had that at Everton, he had that to some extent at Man United, but he is respected in the country. Like, the journalists say he's great. The opposition fans say he's great. Opponents say he's great. Well, in the Premier League, all you heard was he's a donkey, can't control the bars, and he never turns up in a big game. Like that's all the narrative was. And to some extent, that wasn't even wrong. But part of it is that because Manchester United seemingly have the worst fitness staff in the history of world football. Took him 2 weeks at Inter to lose 12 kg. 2 weeks. It took him to lose 12 kg. That's mad. I don't even know how he died from that. Like, I think, 12 kg 2 weeks. You must die.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. Maybe
he looks fat now.
It's a while ago. I can't remember. But it was a lot of weight in a very short amount of time, just because he was probably allergic to something that he was eating. And, as soon as he stopped eating that, he's absolutely fine. But like I said before when we spoke about Haaland, Lukaku is probably the more guaranteed right now success option. So if Chelsea are like, we don't really care if we spend all this money and then when he's 32, 33, we sell him for anywhere between 10 and 40 million, depending on what age he is when he leaves and how age affects his performances. If Chelsea don't care about that, like I said earlier, it's not my money. So if they want to do that, fair enough. Fair enough. Do that. I would prefer Haaland. But if Haaland isn't possible and Lukaku is possible, I'd rather take it. Because I want to go for the Premier League this year. I don't want to sit around and wait for next year. Because Lukaku will be a year older. And I personally don't believe we're going to get Haaland next year when we have the competition of Real Madrid and potentially others. When obviously his release clause kicks in, right? So, and also, I will say something now. And people might think I'm crazy. But I don't actually think Haaland will be that much more cheaper next year, all in all, than he will be right now. Because yes, you pay like 100 million more nearly in transfer fee potentially if you wanted to get him. But I tell you one thing, big up Lewis. If Mino Raiola knows, okay, they're only paying 75 million for bloody Haaland. He's the best talent in the bloody world. I want at least like 50, 60, 70 million in bloody agent fees.
Exactly.
The wages won't be 300k. The wages will be 400k. Exactly. So like, I'm just saying that, right? I don't think he will be a bit cheaper all in all, but I'd rather give Dortmund more money than pay Haaland 500k a week personally. I'd rather
And you know what, Laurenz? A lot of people have been saying that it makes a lot more sense for Haaland to move next season because they're more of the control. Because this season, Dortmund's in control. Next season, Haaland's in control because of the buyout clause. They can demand more wages.
Put himself into control, sure. But because he would make so much more money and Mino Raiola, I think it's less Haaland, more Raiola. But because he would make so much more money next year, he's not going to push this. He's not going to force it. I'm sure they could if they wanted to. Let's be honest. Like you say, no one's bigger than the club. Erling Haaland's bigger than Dortmund, right? Let's not kid ourselves. So if he really wanted to leave, he could leave right now. But because they'd make so much more money in their own pockets next year, they won't force it. They'll take it if Chelsea come along and say, go on then. They'll say, why not? 4 or 5 years. If Chelsea don't develop like crazy, we can still go to Real Madrid. It's absolutely fine. But to bring it back to the Lukaku thing, Lukaku's a great player. Lukaku's a very good player. Is he as good as Haaland right now? Potentially. But does Haaland have a much higher ceiling than Lukaku? Without a shadow of a doubt. But if we want to win the Premier League next season, and Lukaku is more likely, well, then I suppose go for Lukaku then, I guess. I just still think Lukaku is a bit expensive considering he's 28.
Yeah, look, I was under the impression that he wasn't going to be costing so much, but some reports are still saying it'll be around 100 million euros still. So
I thought it was even pounds, 100 million.
Maybe 100 million pounds. And when you think about that and you go, well, you might as well just fork out the other 50 and just go for Haaland. But I'm more of the, I suppose, thought that even if Lukaku is the player, I think we'll still be quite okay in terms of scoring goals. Like he's still a proven goal scorer.
Lukaku is still sick.
Yeah, like a lot of people are saying that, Haaland, Lukaku, as you said, poor first touch and this and that. Lukaku's improved his game a lot. He has improved his game immensely. You look at what he's done for Belgium. His movement is great. Left foot, right foot finishes in this Euros that I've noticed. For Inter as well, it's a different style under Conte. It's more counter-attacking, I've noticed. But he has the ability to do somewhat of what Tuchel's looking for in terms of sometimes he can drop deep and link up, bring others into the game. He then has the burst of pace to move forward, aerially strong, 1v1 against a low block defender in the Premier League. He can turn them around and squeeze in a shot. So he has that. He's been proven in the Premier League as well. Like I know people are going to be harping on about his Man United situation, but look at his Everton days as well. And as a youngster at West Brom as well, I think he scored like 17 Premier League goals at that time.
And he wasn't even a starter.
And he wasn't even a starter. So yeah. All right. Final clip before we get into that. Over 280 people live. Please smash the like button. Get the likes up to over 200 straight away if you're enjoying it. Once again, I'm just going to say, look, I don't always get the chance to see exactly what's happening in the live chat on a, because there's literally so many comments. I've seen few things that might have taken our conversation between myself and Laurenz a little bit they might have taken it offensively. Once again, I do apologize. We don't mean it in that manner at all. Whether that example that I use or whatever, if Laurenz
I think it was more about a comment someone in the chat made.
Oh, was it? Okay.
People, yeah, I think.
So look, I do apologize. I've literally got mods in the chat. So mods, if you do notice anything that was out of context, please take that out. So yeah, sometimes it's very difficult for me to keep in track of everything when I'm trying to concentrate on Laurenz as well. All right.
Just super quickly before you play the next clip, would you mind going a tiny bit up and highlighting TK13's comment?
TK13.
It's a green icon.
TK. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Just because I quickly wanted to react to that. First of all, I haven't heard of this. Even if you're right, TK13, though, I will tell you this. They will twist it and give it some sort of... They will still pay Raiola the money. They will just call it something else. It's like the Messi stuff right now, How everyone's, Messi took this huge wage cut. No, he didn't. He just is now getting the same money he was meant to get on a 2-year deal in a 5-year deal. So officially, the wages per week are significantly less. But if he retires in 2 years, he will just get paid out the rest. So officially, because La Liga has a wage cap of clubs, it lowers it because they officially gave him a 5-year deal. Everyone knows Messi ain't playing at Barcelona until he's bloody 39 now. He's 34. Signed a 5-year deal. Ain't happening, right? So it's just to play and find loopholes in the rules. And that's the same thing that would happen if there is a cap of agent fees. We just call it something different.
100%. And this is exactly what I just said on Matisse's channel, because this was brought up, that whole agent fee, Raiola's. They're going to find different loopholes. They're going to try and jack up the transfer fee then. And some under-the-table fees will be going to X, Y, and Z, and you won't even know. So they'll figure out ways. Like Raiola will not be put off by that 10%. That might be the official way, for taxation purpose. Yeah, that's what I collected, 10% to abide by the rules. But then there's all these other offshore accounts and whatnot where the money's trickling in. You know why those money's trickling in. All right. Now, Laurenz, the final clip on this. So we've talked about Haaland. We've talked about Kane, Lukaku. Matt Law goes on to say that it may not be any of them. And it may be because of Tammy Abraham. So let's listen to this. Now let's start from the top.
And obviously complicated in that is the fact that Tammy's future is slightly tied up in what's happening, because I'm told that Chelsea don't want to commit to a ridiculously high fee without knowing that they can potentially, that there's someone lined up with Tammy. And B, they also don't want to sell Tammy now, and potentially, because Giroud's gone, they'd be in a terrible situation in terms of negotiation for a striker, because they'll be walking around with money in their pockets and everyone knowing they're desperate for a striker, even if it were only a squad striker. So it's a tricky business. It's a really tricky business, and I don't even think it's clear cut. It's not clear cut who they will end up getting, and it's not even clear cut they'll end up getting one, to be quite honest with you, at the moment.
There you go. That's the final clip. And before I ask Laurenz this, I've said it in recent times that we've seen a recent, I think, some sort of rumor from West Ham saying they apparently can't afford Tammy Abraham's 40 million. And I tweeted saying it's got nothing to do with afford. I think most clubs that are interested in Tammy are waiting to see what Chelsea's doing, because they feel that they could perhaps get Tammy on a bit of a bargain, because they know that Chelsea wants to get rid of him and they're in the lookout for another striker. So they're just waiting to play the patience game here. And Chelsea also are in a bit of a conundrum, because they buy someone, let's say Haaland or Lukaku or whoever, then they need to ship off Tammy real quick, because last thing you want is still have Tammy in the team, pay the wages that he's getting paid, which I know it's not as much as Cho at the moment, but it's still relevant. And they don't want to have another situation where a player doesn't play any role, much like the Danny Drinkwater sort of situation, getting paid. and they want to get away from all of this stuff. They want to be making sure the financial they're settled. So there is an issue from many sides around this whole Tammy thing. So, I mean, Laurenz, what's your take? Like, is it going to be as easy to ship off Tammy? Could possibly Tammy still stay if we don't get any of these strikers? What's your thoughts?
Well, if we actually don't get a striker, I would much prefer Tammy to stay. Because as much as Danny Ings isn't bad, right? Because I see someone mention him in the chat and stuff.
Yeah.
He's bad. Let's not forget how injury-prone Danny Ings is, right? If he's fit, he's decent. But he's very bloody fit. That's the problem here. But then, yeah. But I don't really know the angle Matt Law is taking here. To me, this sounds like a big load of waffle. Because it's like...
Do you see why I fight with him?
Yeah. But to me, it's like, if Chelsea was so desperate to sell Tammy, they'd just sell him for a little less. If that was the big hold-up, then sell him for 30 and instead of 40, and you'll have him snapped up within 2 days. Like, just lower it. If that's the hold-up and the problem, that's waffle. I don't buy that at all. I don't think Tammy has anything to do with whether we sign a striker or not. I mean, we will. I agree with him that I don't think we'll sell him before we sign someone. Whether that ends up Haaland, Lukaku, Kane, as you really want him is, or bloody Danny Ings or whoever, we won't sell Tammy before we get someone. But I do quickly want to touch on it because I wasn't sure whether the clip would include it. Obviously, the Arsenal interest is seemingly getting stronger and stronger, and all the reliable outlets are talking about it. And apparently, Tammy is open to it. Can we not do that?
He's an Arsenal fan as well.
From youth. I mean, he himself calls himself a Chelsea. He's been at Chelsea since he's 7. He's probably not actually an Arsenal fan anymore, but he probably was as a kid. But can we just not do that, please? Like, I don't like it. I don't like selling players to Arsenal. This is why Arsenal has nearly leveled with Tottenham in my hatred, because they have all the players. Like, I don't care about most of the Tottenham players. I don't like them because they play for Tottenham, but I have no opinion on them, really. I don't like, Dele Alli. He's a bit annoying. But aside from that...
Hate him, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. But aside from that, I have no individual problems. But when I see Willian go there, and when I see David Luiz go there, and when I see now bloody Tammy Abraham go there, and even bloody Czech went there. I know we love Czech and that, but it still pissed me off that he had to go to Arsenal. I can't lie. Trigger. Right? I don't like it. I don't like letting players go to rivals. I'm not a fan of it. Especially not at 23, 24, Tammy is. That's way too early. Like, I can't be having that. Imagine
this
Tammy
would be
scores 20 goals for Arsenal next season. I dig my own grave.
And he could possibly do that. I feel like he could possibly do that.
I mean, probably not at Arsenal because they're a bit too shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I completely understand your point. Like, we've let go of Czech, David Luiz, and Willian, and they were on the twilight of their. Oh well, Czech still played. I don't know how many seasons did he play at Arsenal, like 6 or something like that. He was still there for a little while.
Let me think. Czech was still here when we won the league with Jose.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
In 2013, 14, 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I think Czech was still here.
Yeah, he left after.
Play. Yeah,
because
so he left some of 20. He left some of 2015 then, and retired some of 2019. So 5 years there.
5 years. So that's 4 years. That's still decent. But yeah, Tammy Abraham would be a different one, Laurenz, where he's he's youngish still. He's 24. And he could potentially just get into that peak of his career. And we've seen, like, he's capable of banging in the goals. So the last thing I'd want is Chelsea versus Arsenal, and they've done the double on us last season. Someone like Tammy starts becoming a menace in that particular game.
The last time we beat Arsenal, by the way, Tammy scored the winner.
And Tammy scored the winner, exactly. So... We'll see what happens
I think it was the last time we beat Arsenal. When we won the Emirates, was that the last time?
That was the last time. Yeah, because we lost the FA Cup, then we lost the 2 last season.
Yeah.
So that was the last time.
Exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this discussion. I mean, before we go, let's get a one-liner from Laurenz. Laurenz, What do you think? Gut feeling from within inside. We are 22nd of July, literally a couple of weeks away, I suppose. Just a tad over a couple of weeks away before we play our Super Cup game.
Mhm.
Who's destined to? Are we going to get a new striker?
Yes. We're going to get a new striker, but not before August 25th.
Literally,
that's kind of my
till the
side.
end.
That's why I was a bit annoyed when the fixtures came out, because we have all the tough game at the start, and I'm like, we won't have a new striker by then. So we will. Go on.
Do you reckon either Inter or Dortmund, if it goes till that late, they would have started their season as well, right?
Like I said, we signed Havertz in September. I know the transfer window was extended, but we signed Havertz in September. Dortmund is no different to Leverkusen. People think they are because they've been this big club for the last 3 years or 10 years, and that's only how long most people seem to understand that football existed. Dortmund are not that. Dortmund have a huge fan base. They're not this club to win things every year. That's never what Dortmund have been. That's never what Dortmund will be. That's never what anyone in Germany will be aside from Bayern Munich, right? Let's not kid. And what? Like, Dortmund have plenty of times not made the Champions League. Like, you know what I mean? If you give them enough money, and they're bloody desperate for money with this global pandemic, they don't have any penny for anything. They're saying, if they shut us off again with fans, and they might do come October, let's see. They're in the mud. But we don't want to sell waffle. If you give them enough money, they will sell. And the same with Inter Milan. Italian clubs don't have money. They don't. The only reason Juve were able to afford Ronaldo is because the company Fiat, the car company, paid 70% of it.
Wow.
So, if you really want them, and you're an English club, and you're Chelsea Football Club, and you're Roman Abramovich, you can make it happen. You can. Whether you're willing to pay as much as they ask for it is a different question.
Yep.
But your question was just, will we get a striker? You didn't say how good of a striker, but we will get one.
I think Laurenz is trying to say Danny Ings, ladies and gentlemen. You'll probably see him shaping up.
Sasha Kalajdzic, apparently. We're going to sign the Austrian Sasha Kalajdzic.
By the way, you know what? Just before we wrap things up, because I know, Austrian background, you may know something. Not may, you definitely know. Just before we do that, Declare, thank you so much for this super chat, my man. I'm sorry, Miz, but Matt Law hasn't added anything new. He's always been talking about Lukaku, and he's always been talking about Haaland. So you're right, it probably hasn't added anything new to that whole thing. But Laurenz, Sasha, how do you pronounce his name? Kalajdzic. Tell us a little bit about him, because you're an Austrian from an Austrian background, and you follow Austria, and you're a diehard fan. I've seen you, how mad you were in the Euros in football Twitter. I've seen it. We've all seen it. So tell us a little bit about this player.
Well, my joking explanation of him was the Austrian Peter Crouch. It's not quite that, but he's 6'7", right? So he's ginormous.
Peter Crouch levels.
Yeah, he's literally as tall as Peter Crouch. That's why I'm saying he's Austrian Peter Crouch. He's 24, so he's not that young, but he's had a good breakout season breakout seasons, I suppose, but especially this season. He was doing well for Stuttgart in the Bundesliga, scoring like 13, 14, 15 league goals. Obviously made the Austrian squad in a few of the friendlies and qualifiers before, and then for the Euros, scored a goal against Italy, which didn't help us anything in the end, but scored, I suppose. He's decent with his head. He's pulled off a stunning backheel assist against Liverpool in the friendly the other day, which was a great assist.
Really?
Yeah, brilliant. Like, he's technically much better than his height would make you think, but he's still not that good. Like, I'd rather keep Tammy Abraham than have Sasha Kalajdzic.
There you go. Who's better aerially, though?
Sasha is probably better aerially, but that's about everywhere where he's better than Tammy. Also, just to clarify that, if he cost like 10 million, fine, right? But Simon Johnson said he would probably cost you 30 plus million. You mad? You mad? Sasha Kalajdzic.
Because Stuttgart is they're seeing what's going on, and they want to get into the act as well. You know,
Exactly,
you're throwing money, you might as well throw money out
against Liverpool. Add another 5 million on top of it.
Someone stop that player from playing football. You know, his price is increasing by the minute. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Straight from Laurenz, who follows Austria, his background. And he's not advocating Sasha Kalajdzic. He's not.
No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to see this.
I'd support it because I think it's sick that we have an Austrian at Chelsea. But in terms of, do I actually think this is what Chelsea need? No. We should have just kept Giroud then.
I love this, man. I love this. This was good. Ladies and gentlemen, we've still got over 200 people. Let's get the likes up to 200. If you've enjoyed this conversation that I've had with Laurenz, also, if you're here for the first time, subscribe. 6,000 is very, very close. So let's do that. Check out Laurenz's socials in the description. Go and follow him as well. And as always, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you guys around and the support you guys have been given. Brilliant. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll be back tomorrow, possibly with Worldwide Chills. So look out for that. Generally, I sort of stream around, as you guys know, 11 a.m. UK to about 1 a.m. during that time frame. So do look out for during that time frame. But I might actually even have a stream post our match today. The preseason match that we've got against the Dublin team over there in Ireland, and maybe an hour after the match is finished, once I see exactly some of the reports and whatnot, we'll probably have a stream. So if you're interested, roughly around 9:30 p.m. UK time, I may have a stream then.
Do we know the kickoff time there?
Yeah, 6:30, Laurenz. 6:30. Yeah, so I'm giving about a couple of hours and then an hour after, so we'll see what happens. But Laurenz, before we go, anything from your side that you want to add? Any content that we can expect that's coming up or anything like that? Or whatever you're
what
up
I need to add is thank you for having me. It's been brilliant. It's been a lovely chat. Even though the chat went a bit mental at times, calm down, guys.
Yeah.
It's all a bit of banter. But I do. I mean, I don't get it, but I appreciate all the super chats from Miz. Love to see that always. So that's brilliant. Like he said, subscribe, smash the like button. Of course, if you want to check out my YouTube channel, like Miz said, the link is down in the description. If you haven't seen it already, 2 days ago, I spoke with Simon Johnson about all the latest transfer news and about.
I'll have that in the description as well.
Yeah, exactly. We spoke about Haaland, Lukaku, a bit of Declan Rice, Germany. We spoke about preseason as well. Potential like the likes of Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher. What happens to those guys? And yeah, tomorrow I should be recording a podcast with Alex Goldberg, and then I'll be getting back onto the stream. Not sure I'll be able to have time tomorrow, but probably over the weekend. So get subscribed for that if you fancy it. Like I said, subscribe to Miz because getting ever so close to 6,000 subscribers. So get that done, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, brilliant. I appreciate you for having me on. I've enjoyed it as always, and I hope we can do this again soon, bro. Brilliant,
and we 100% will. 100%. I can't wait till the season starts and you do your the ratings again. And I'll be bringing. Hopefully, if you allow me, we'll be bringing the ratings in. I'll be bringing my flavor, and we can take it from there. But yeah, until next time, everyone. See ya.